Well, Aisling Ross, I am super excited. I get a lot of people on my podcast, but today I have you and you're here from The Wedding Nanny. Or is it Wedding Nanny?
The Wedding Nanny.
The Wedding
that's
Nanny.
us.
How are you, Aisling?
Brilliant.
Oh
I'm
my
so
God.
excited to be here.
Oh, it's just so great to have you here because I probably have about 250 questions to ask you.
That's okay.
So tell me first of all, so you are the Wedding Nanny.
Yeah.
And you have a company
Yeah.
who goes out to weddings and looks after the children when everything else is happening. I mean, I just think that that's the best idea ever.
Oh, thank you.
When did you start?
So we started off very naturally in 2019. Little old me over here didn't think anything was going to happen. I was just minding children at weddings.
Yes.
And then it was kind of friends at the weddings were like, oh, will you mind my children too? And oh, well, I have a friend that needs their children minded. And I was like,
Yes.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
If that's what you need. So it was just really natural. So
But how did you get into weddings and what experience do you need to be a wedding nanny at a wedding?
I suppose like that, it was someone that just asked us to look after their children at a wedding.
Right.
And obviously I'm my Garda vetting, I'm first aid trained, and I have my experience, my qualifications in childcare. So I have my level 8 in childcare.
Okay.
So you kind of do need a bit of something behind
So you do?
Yeah.
Because let's just stop for a second. You're not just going to ring anyone and go, will you come and mind my kids?
Yeah.
You know, when you can't see your kids and you have this stranger coming along. So you want to know that they're, experienced.
Absolutely.
And you can trust them.
That's it as well. And that kind of, right, okay, this is a 2-year-old. This is what a 2-year-old needs.
Yes.
This is a 5-year-old. So they obviously have totally different needs to a
Yes.
2-year-old or a baby. So like that, I had the experience before that.
Yeah.
Working in different creches and everything, knowing what each kind of age group needs and kind of just incorporate. I had no experience at weddings.
Yes, yeah. But you knew how to mind the kids.
Exactly. So the wedding thing kind of just came second then. I was like, right, we'll just figure out a wedding timeline and work everything into that. And it worked out great. Like I never expected it.
Well, it's a no-brainer for me because I mean, I'm so excited, like I said, to have you on.
Yeah.
I do a lot of weddings,
Of course,
and I suppose, yes, I am a photographer, but I am also like a little wedding coordinator and I try and make sure that the day runs smoothly.
Absolutely.
And the one thing that grinds my goat is that, you'll have a couple who will bring the kids to the wedding, their own kids, and they don't have somebody outside of the family to mind the children. Now, if you've got somebody within the family who's going to mind the children and they genuinely don't mind going off when the kids need a nap, going off when the nappies have to be changed, and they genuinely don't mind, that's fine.
Yeah, but how often does that happen?
It generally doesn't happen. So it does kind of, get on my goat a little bit because I know what's going to happen later on.
I know.
On the day and we're going to be stressed.
And sure, they want to sit down and have their dinner. You're not going to sit down and have your 5-course meal with a toddler running around.
No, you're not. So let's just talk about what's from my point of view, what I think is absolutely essential. And you can tell me
absolutely
if you facilitate this. So I suppose you start off the day and it's great. The kids are in great form and they can't wait to get in their suit and they're so excited. The princess dress and the whole lot, can't wait. And then, they need a nap on the morning. And that's fine. And they have a nap. But then the church is happening.
Yes. Or maybe they've missed their nap.
Maybe they've missed the nap. And the church happens. And again, I think I spoke about this the other day where we had an Auntie Pauline, if she's listening, and she was the godmother to the bride. And she said she'd mind the kids in the church and whatever.
Lovely.
And she didn't actually get to see any of the ceremony because one of them cried. None of the ceremony.
Yeah, of course.
So, that's a real, that just drives me mad. Yeah. Whereas if you had somebody like you, and is that something that you do?
Absolutely.
So do you look after them from the church or
from even earlier? So we kind of arrive in the morning, kind of when hair and makeup starts. So when it's getting a bit busier, the 2-3-year-olds kind of see Mammy sitting in the makeup chair and it's kind of getting a bit jealous. As terrible as that sounds, they do kind of get it, but they start acting up a little bit because they're like,
they get overwhelmed because this isn't the norm.
Exactly. So we kind of rock up, whether it's the house or the hotel, wherever they're getting ready that morning, with a big suitcase of toys.
Amazing.
And we...
Oh, Jesus, I'd be on the ground, would you?
Exactly. So we know in advance what they're interested in. Kind of bring a few bits depending on their age then as well. We come in and we just play with them for the morning. Let them just be children because it's so hard when people are like, oh, stand over there. Oh, don't touch that wire. Don't do that. Don't do that. So we just let them do what they want. We make sure they're safe while they're doing it. That type of way.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then We'll get them ready for the church because, again, everyone is busy getting into their bridesmaids' dresses.
Yes.
They forget to dress the children. And you're like, is anyone dressing this little fella over here?
And you know what? It's actually so nice to have somebody do that.
Yes.
And then one of the big questions I have is that obviously they've never met you before, the kids.
Never.
And I know what this is like in the studio when I have children coming in and they're looking at me for the first time going, who are you?
Oh, I know, who's this one?
You. Yeah. So I'd always sort of sit down and I'd be chatting to the parents and I'm told I'm very smiley all the time, probably why I have so many feckin' wrinkles on my face. So I'd say they're probably looking at me chatting to their mum and dad.
Yeah.
And then I'll talk, if I feel that they're very, 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 very shy, I won't engage. I give them an odd little look, but I keep talking to the parents.
Yeah.
What do you do if you come across a child who's painfully shy, who doesn't want to go near you?
Yeah. So we kind of know that in advance. So we'll have a call with the parents kind of a month before the wedding, that to find out all the nitty gritty bits, their routine, everything that we need to know before the day.
Brilliant.
And like that will come up in the conversation. How is your children? Are they social? Are they painfully shy in between? So it doesn't matter what they are. If they're so social, we'll send them a video, a little personalised video.
Oh my God, Aisling, I love this. Brilliant.
So I get on the camera, all bells and whistles. Hi, I'm Aisling. I'm Mammy's friend. So the key there is to say that you're Mammy and Daddy's friend or whoever it is. Because like you said there, once they know that Mammy trusts you, they'll trust you.
I'm safe.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So and then I go on to say, I'm going to bring loads of toys. And Mammy would have told me before they're into diggers.
Like.
So I'll have my digger in my hand. Would you like me to bring this one with me?
Oh my God. So talk about manipulation.
Yeah, I know, it's terrible. So they watched me on Mammy's phone.
Brilliant.
For a week or two before the big day.
Amazing.
So when I get to the house, they see me coming.
Oh,
and or any of the
God.
girls, they see us coming.
Where's
and
the
they're
digger?
And they're like, did you remember the digger? And I'm like, I did. And I brought loads more. So they, in their head, I've just shown them one toy.
Brilliant.
But this is a suitcase full of toys.
Oh, Ash, this is amazing.
So
amazing.
That kind of breaks that barrier down straight away.
Amazing.
Painfully shy or not, they've seen me seen me on the phone before.
Yeah.
Because we were doing like play dates where we'd come for an hour like a week or two before the wedding,
right,
and meet them and play with them. But we found it wasn't even working because everyone was so busy. The children were tired from being in school all day and they just wanted to sit in front of the telly like you would.
And to be honest with you, I think if you come for a play date and you've shown your bloody suitcase of toys, you're not interesting anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly what was happening. They were like, oh yeah, we've seen your toys.
Go bye.
Yeah, I'm not interested. Whereas on the morning of a wedding, everyone is busy.
Yeah.
They see us coming. They know we're there just for them.
To play.
Just to play.
Yeah.
And let them run around, do whatever they want.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Because I generally have to do that myself when there's nobody to mind them. Like, and give me a load of kids because I love children. I just love it. But I also have to photograph the day.
You can't be stuck with the children either.
So, Ash, I have actually never seen nannies in the house on the morning of a wedding. So I obviously have seen them back at the hotel or at the church.
Yes.
But I've never seen them at the house.
Yeah.
Like, this is ingenious because they're needed at the house.
Absolutely. It's just that time when everyone is too busy to even remember to give the child lunch before the church.
Oh my God.
The children always, when we arrive at like 3 or 4 o'clock, they're starving.
Yes.
And we're like, when did they last eat? Oh, must have been breakfast. Oh. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. We get them sorted.
Yeah.
But if we're there in the morning, obviously we'll give them their breakfast when we arrive, but we'll give them lunch before the church or the ceremony, whatever it is. Because like they're not going to survive on nothing for the day.
They need to eat.
They do. We remember to do all of that because everyone else is busy doing other things. They're not going to think, oh, give the child a sambo there and he's
exactly.
Grand.
Yeah. So then, in terms of transport.
Yes.
So if you are, I know it all, you say. So I have 100 questions. I just had 250 questions. So when you're leaving the house to go to the church, do you bring them with you?
No, we don't transport them, and for a lot of different reasons. Mainly the car seat situation. It's too hard to get a car seat. You can't get a universal car seat.
Okay.
You just can't. So, but it's a nice time for the children to travel, let's say with an auntie or an uncle, and they get to have that little family time.
Yeah.
So we actually, not like, it's a nice thing that we don't transport them because they get to still spend time with the family. And it's nice. They kind of say, oh, we had really like loads of fun looking out the window, seeing the cows and all. So they remember that time as well.
Exactly.
So that's nice.
So then you trip up to the church.
Yes, exactly.
And Auntie Maura gets out of the car with the kids.
Yeah.
And what do you do then?
So whatever the bride wants.
Yes.
We like most of the time they want them to try and walk down the aisle.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Do you know?
Oh, I know. And it doesn't happen.
No.
And there's murder.
But see, when we're there, what we'll do is if I know she wants the 3 kids to walk down the aisle, I'll walk in the very last minute and I'll say to them, you can get this car when you come up the top of the aisle.
Here's the digger.
Exactly. It's terrible. It is, but they'll do it.
I know.
So I'm standing like crawling down in hunkers
Yeah.
with the car and the dolly and the train or whatever it is.
Out of the way of the photographer.
Exactly. And I'm like, hello,
Yes.
come on over here. And
Yeah.
they some of them now run down the island. Like,
Yeah.
could have went a bit slower.
No, it doesn't matter.
But once they get them up. And
Yeah.
then depends. They might sit on my lap with the few toys.
Yes.
They might sit on Nana's lap at that point, or we might just have to leave
Take them out.
because they might just be too chatty. They might
Cry.
sometimes they get upset. You know, they don't know why can't they go up and sit with Mommy and Daddy.
Yes.
Do you know? So
Yeah.
we'll just bring them out, avoid that completely, and
Yes.
let everyone else enjoy the ceremony.
Yeah.
And we're just in
So,
the background.
To be honest with you, right, I actually don't mind when the kids go up and sit on their lap.
Yeah.
It can be a nice photo.
Yes.
But there's a time where they shouldn't really be on the altar. And it's when they're
Absolutely.
doing the rings and the vows and they're chatting away and the real stuff has to be done. So I think it is absolutely essential to have somebody in the church who is not a family member
Absolutely.
to do that job.
Because we can even, like, we don't mind taking them off and they're crying mid
Yes.
transfer. We'll settle them as soon as we leave the church.
100%.
You know, but we don't mind running out the church with a child that's crying.
Yes.
Whereas other family members might say, oh, we'll just sit them here and settle them. They'll
Yeah,
be fine.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
we'll just say, no, we're gone.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
yeah.
They'll be fine.
Exactly,
Like, if you still
exactly.
hear them crying, there's something wrong. But
Yeah.
you'll never
And you
hear
know,
them.
You'll probably get some people listening to us going, oh, no, I want them there. But
Yes.
I just want to point out all of the things that actually go wrong.
Yeah.
And they do every time.
Yeah,
Do you
most
know?
of the time they do. You'd
They
want
do.
a very rare occasion that you get to sit for the whole church.
Unless they're a bit older.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
I mean, if they're kind of like 8 and 9, kind of around that age.
They understand.
And they understand, but they still get fed up.
Well, the church is what, an hour?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
it's
it's
full hour. Yeah.
And then it's the photographs after, and it's
Yeah.
the bits beforehand, the hanging around beforehand. So
Yes.
it's a lot of like stillness for a
Yes,
child.
It is.
Do you know? And
It is.
they kind of see us and they're like, well, you have toys.
Yeah. Yeah. And we just want to play now.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
and the excitement of getting into the little suit on the morning or
Yes.
the dress, like that's gone now.
Oh yeah, they've forgotten about that.
I know, like
The
it's
suit is probably nearly dirty at that
yeah,
point.
I
You
know exactly.
You're like, oh no, please.
It's almost like, you know, and the bridesmaids are amazing on the morning.
Yes.
And then we walk down the aisle and we're outside and I'm like, okay, girls. And
Yeah.
sometimes they kind of forget they're a bridesmaid.
Yes.
You're a bridesmaid.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Yeah.
So then what we do, I suppose, if they do a meet and greet, the bride and groom at the end of the aisle,
Yes.
you have that sort of group outside where they're all kind of standing around
Absolutely.
and chatting. What do you do there?
We just let them play.
You let them play.
Now, sometimes the bride and groom will say to us, oh, we'd like them there for the meet and greet line as well. And I'll say,
Yes.
that's absolutely fine. I'll be standing on the opposite side
Yes.
of your meet and greet. And as soon as they get fed up, because you might only get about 10, 15 people, and then we'll head off and play. I've
Exactly.
never been there that the children have lasted the full meet and greet saying
Not
hi
at
to
all.
everyone.
Yeah.
So they might-
I prefer when they don't do the meet
Yeah.
and greet. I'm just saying
I know, me too.
Because we have more time at the drinks reception.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
less pressure for the children as well,
Yeah.
and less hanging around for the children.
Yeah.
Because once you start hanging around and like that, your photographs have to happen. And generally after the church, they're in good enough form that
Yeah.
you're like, okay, this is the perfect time for a few pictures.
Yes.
And then we'll just let them do what they want.
Yeah.
Do you know? So, yeah.
Yeah. So I suppose one of my kind of biggest gripe, I know that sounds very negative. I don't mean it to sound negative.
Yeah.
So you go back, say, to the hotel or the wedding venue and it's time for photos. And
Absolutely.
I'm super fast. I get through things like Sergeant Major
Yeah,
in a
I'd say
great
so,
way.
yeah.
Oh, but it's all fun and it's all laughter. But I just want to make sure that it's all
Absolutely.
very efficient
Yeah.
so that my couple can go and greet their guests.
Well, that's
at the
important
drinks
as well
reception.
for the couple to actually be at their wedding
To be
and
at
not
the
be
party.
not be held up getting photographs for the day.
So like I say to them, if you could just give me a full hour
Yeah.
for all of the photos, happy
Brilliant.
days. So we need whatever time for family, then bride
Yeah.
party, then your couple shots. So when it comes to, I would typically start off with family photos.
Yes.
So, you know, if a couple have 1 child, 2 child, 3 children, they're going to want their children in all of the family photos.
Definitely.
And if they're a bride or a little flower girl or a page boy, they're going to want them in the bridal party.
Yeah.
And then they're going to want a little family, you know, scenario as well.
Definitely.
So generally what I would try and do is get the bride and groom with their children first.
Oh,
Because
I love
that's
that.
That's
Yeah.
the most important
and
photo.
then you can grab everyone else in as you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, they don't last.
No.
And sometimes they're not there.
No.
So how do you work that? So, like for me now, I'm going, where are the kids?
Yeah.
Oh, they're with the childminder.
Yeah.
And why didn't the childminder ask when the photos are being taken? So how do you manage that?
So that's exactly, you just said it there. We'll chat with the photographer in the morning of the wedding and say, when are you doing the family photos?
I've never had this. This is amazing. I love it.
Because we need to know to coordinate naps.
Yeah.
Do you know, so, because a lot of the time as well, they could be napping for the ceremony, just before, just after. So we say, okay, well, hold on a minute. We have to do a nap at this time.
Yes.
Can we grab you for 5 minutes before they go into the dinner hall?
Right.
Do you know, so then you can kind of do it that way. But most of the time we can like wiggle around it. We'll just say, okay, yeah, we can push the nap out half an hour and we can sort that out. Or let's say they don't need to nap. We can be around, but we might be off elsewhere. We set up a little WhatsApp group chat.
Great.
With all the family members in it.
I hear.
So we kind of send updates throughout the day, letting them know how everything's going on. And to say, if we're missing for when the pictures even start, even if the children aren't needed, pop us a message and we'll come back.
Brilliant.
Because we need to know. It's important. You know, it's one of these things that you just have to, you can't miss it. Like.
Yeah. And like from my point of view, from the photography point of view, you don't have that long.
No.
You have that window and you want to get that bride and groom back. So you just have that certain amount of time.
Yeah.
If the kids aren't there, it's like, so I'll move on to the next thing. But
the children are still always needed.
Well, this is the thing. Especially, because sometimes, they're in the groom's family photos and then they start crying and they had to be taken away and they're not in the bride's family photos.
And then it just looks terrible.
And that's uneven. Yeah. And I'm like, oh God, I'm not going to show them those photos because that's uneven. It's not fair. And she'd be raging. And so just one, but they have to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we have our toys. So like that, like I'd be standing behind the photographer, but like I tell everyone, be quiet. Yes. And you probably tell them all the same.
Yes, everybody look at me.
Yeah.
And then they'll look at you, which I have no problem with.
Yeah. So I'd be standing with my rattles or whatever, and this is toys that they haven't seen yet.
Yes.
So again, their face lights up for the first time.
I love it.
So I do have like a car's rattle or something that's going to make noise.
Yes.
And they're like,
what's that?
I haven't seen that yet. And they're like, can we come play? And they're like,
and it's
after.
so funny, Ash, because you know exactly what to do and what is going to get their attention.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like I have a big chest of toys in the studio.
Yeah.
And like I have puppets in there,
I know.
and I take them out and like Amy might be behind me squeaking something.
Well, that's it, yeah.
And the parents are looking at Amy and going, me.
Hello. Yeah.
But it's just something to distract them, So
absolutely.
you have
Or I do even say to the children before, like the morning of the wedding, I say, practice our best toothbrush and smile. And then I just say, where's them toothbrush and smiles, John Tooth Fairy? But they do. They listen to you.
Oh my God,
like,
Ash,
so it's great. You just kind
of
of have to think of things outside the box because you can't sit like tell a child smile and they're like
But you know what I have to say, right, and I've not met you before. I met you like 5 minutes before you came in the door. You are actually so relatable and I could see why children would like you,
I just sit on the floor with them.
I'd say you're great fun.
Yeah, well, we have great time. I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't work in any other job.
You just love children.
How. Yeah,
that's just amazing.
But and you have to.
I always say this, because I would get people. So obviously, I'm a wedding photographer and I do loads of other things as well, including my podcast.
I know.
But I'm a children and baby and family photographer during the week, and like the amount of my friends that would say, how do you like just surround yourself with kids all day long? I just wouldn't have it any other way because I just have great fun. I go into the studio, take my shoes off, I'm in my socks for the day.
That's it,
like seriously, it's the best job ever.
And then the children come into the studio then like, oh, she has no shoes on. I'm going to take my shoes off.
Oh, you see, that's
and they feel comfortable.
And they feel
and that's what you need.
Yeah.
So it's the little small touches like that. Like at the wedding, sitting on the ground with the children. Obviously, we're not coming in our big fancy goonas for the day.
Yeah.
We're in comfy casuals and we're sitting on the ground, rolling on the grass down the hills with them, whatever they want. Family see us and they're like, who's your one?
But they're delighted.
But they're having a great time.
Because they know the kids have been looked after.
Yeah.
So Ash, then tell me, so after the family photos, and then the couple go off and have their photographs taken, you go off then to play with them?
Absolutely, yeah.
And do you set up anywhere or what do you do?
We follow what the children want. They don't, generally they don't want to sit at a table colouring pictures for an hour.
No.
Do you know?
They don't.
And all well and good in real life, that just doesn't work.
No.
So we just let them, we follow their lead. We bring our suitcase around with us because obviously it's the most compact, easy thing to do.
Yes.
If they want to sit over in the corner playing, we do that.
Yes.
Sitting outside. But most of the time we're running around playing bubbles and
Brilliant.
Just letting them.
Do you bring bubbles?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But whenever
brilliant.
the photographer's like, oh, you have bubbles. And I'm like, yeah. And then the things don't work. And you're like, oh typical.
Jump one of those bubble machines. Oh my God.
But it's always at one time and it's a beautiful day and the bubbles would look lovely. And then you're like, no, my mix is
sorry.
it's not working.
It's not happening today.
Not meant to be.
So then, I mean, obviously they're going to get tired during the day as well.
Absolutely.
So obviously you must figure out where you're going to bring them for a nap.
Yeah. So if we're there, let's say just for the full day, if we're not doing an overnight stay, we'll ask a family member, can we use their room to do naps or just even quiet time? They might be 5 or 6, but they still need downtime.
They do.
Because it's a busy day.
Yeah.
So we'll ask to use their room. But then if we're staying for the overnight stay, we'll have our own bedroom at that point. So we can just set up there, have all their bits there.
Brilliant.
And we can come and go as they want. A lot of the children like to spend time in the bedroom though.
Yes.
Like that, just away from, oh, you look lovely. Oh, give us a twirl. Like they like that for the first 5 minutes. But after that, they're like, oh, go away.
God,
Do you know? So it's
and it's full of adults as well.
Yes,
you know?
exactly. Yeah.
And then, so obviously you provide that service. I've often been to weddings where I see other companies coming along and entertaining all the children.
Yes.
Do you do that too?
Not really.
Yes.
We kind of work on a much smaller, intimate basis where the most amount of children one nanny would have would be 3.
Yes.
And that even depends on their age.
Yes.
Like we couldn't have 3 small babies.
No.
The babies are 1-to-1 and that's just end of story.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just couldn't.
Yeah.
But generally 1 to 3. But now we can bring other nannies along.
Yes.
And we'll all have our 3 children type thing. But we still all work together, play together type thing.
Yes.
But if one set of children need to go off and do something else, the nanny just takes charge and just say, okay, we're off to do this now.
Yes.
So we don't like that. Like other companies kind of stay in the one place.
Yes.
Whereas we're very mobile. We'll go anywhere.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Absolutely. Like I do see companies, and I think I have a wedding coming up this weekend where there is a particular company coming between a certain hour and a certain hour. And I think what they'll do is they'll entertain all the kids at the wedding for that time.
Yeah.
However,
small.
when that dinner comes around, they're gone.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of when it's really important to entertain them, isn't it?
Absolutely. Because dinner is 5-6 o'clock. The children need to be fed 4 o'clock.
Absolutely.
Between 4 and 5. When we're told dinner bell's 5:30 and you're like, okay, we're going to get them fed before that. And we can sit in and let them kind of be around the dinner reception.
Yes.
But they can be well fed by then.
Absolutely.
Do you know?
Because what they do is they ring the bell at 5:30 and then they bring the bride and groom in at 6, and sometimes they do the speeches before the meal.
A lot of the time they do the speeches before the meal.
And they're not being fed till 7.
No.
So that's way too late.
It is. And it's lovely for everyone else to have the speeches before the meal, but when there's children that need to be fed, they're like, oh, okay, we're just going to have them fed first because there's just no point.
Would you get many couples asking you to stay the night?
Yeah. So most of our packages are kind of 18 or 24 hours. That would be the most popular.
Yeah.
Because like that, you don't want to be sending granny up to bed at midnight and say, oh, will you go up and mind the kids? She's having the time of her life down there dancing. And sometimes we nearly feel bad when we're only booked for the 10 or the 12 hours.
Yes.
And someone has to come up and relieve us. We're like, oh, you're having a great time.
I know.
Do you know?
And why is that they only book you for that time?
I think most of it is the parents feel guilty. That the children are staying with someone that they technically don't know.
Yes.
But once bedtime comes around, we're all best friends in the bed together, cuddling up. And, they know no different.
Yeah.
So it is worth just doing the extra, doing the overnight, letting everyone enjoy themselves because the children are having the best time with us.
Exactly.
And then when we wake up the next morning, they're like, oh, you're still here. And you're like, yeah, let's play. And we bring them down for their breakfast and they can have pancakes, they can have whatever they want.
Yeah, brilliant.
And let them, obviously, dietary requirements take into account.
Of course.
But we let them just do what they want. It's we see it as their party.
Brilliant. I love this.
Yeah.
I love it. And then you go then, I suppose, really,
the next morning.
Yeah.
Probably after
breakfast.
the next wedding then.
Yeah, and after the next wedding. Oh my God. Almighty.
Great.
So do you travel around Ireland?
Yeah, so we've nannies, we've 18 nannies in Ireland and then we've nannies in London as well.
Yeah, I can't
So we're in
believe this.
Ireland and the UK. London. Just for now.
Just for now. Jesus, should be all over the shop.
I know.
That is amazing. So it doesn't matter where in Ireland.
No, it doesn't matter where.
So say, for example, I'm getting married, I have 2 children, I want to hire you for 24 hours and I live in Donegal. You don't have to tell me what you charge for that, but obviously you have to charge travel.
Yeah.
And they have to provide overnight and all that.
That's it. Well, obviously for the 24 hours, they have to book the room for the nanny to stay in. But you see, we have nannies close by to Donegal.
Wow.
So I'm not travelling from Dublin to Donegal.
Stop.
So we have someone close by that
Yes.
say, right, it's actually only 45 minutes for her
Right.
to go there. So we'd add up, like when we're quoting it up, we say, right, okay, so she can do that one.
Yes.
And it's only 45 minutes mileage, so it's whatever that costs.
Okay.
So, because if I was to come from Dublin to Donegal,
Yeah.
sure, that'd be more expensive than the wedding package.
I know.
Do you know?
I know.
So,
As you see, that this is it. Like,
Yeah.
and I do
yeah.
get asked to go to Donegal and to, now, mind you, it depends on what time of the year it is. Because
Yeah.
most of the time I can't do it.
Of course.
But if I am going to Donegal, it's a bloody journey.
It is. You nearly have to prepare the day before and
Well, you do.
take off the next day because
Yeah.
you're exhausted from it all.
Like, it's probably a 3-hour drive or 3.5-hour drive there. And that's 7 hours.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And nobody pays you for those 7 hours, by the way.
No.
Because that's, you will get kind of travel money
Yes.
to cover your travel
But it's
costs.
still your time.
But it's your time.
Yeah.
And that's that's one of the biggest things for me, because 7 hours is the amount of time I spend at a wedding.
Yeah,
Like, that's my
huge.
wedding day.
Yeah.
So that's why I was just wondering,
Yeah.
and if you travel. And then I suppose one of the questions I would have, like I would do a lot of weddings where you might have a child with autism.
Yes.
You could have a little child who has Down syndrome.
Absolutely.
You have children there with additional needs.
100%.
Can you cater for children with additional needs?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, you couldn't say no.
Yeah.
Do you know, they're still children. I look at every child as children, regardless of what they
brilliant.
have. But once we know
Yes.
what their needs are, like if we came to the wedding day and we had no clue
Yes.
that this child had autism and she had sensory needs and
Yes.
do you know, all of that, we wouldn't have the
Equipment.
toys in
Yeah.
the bag. She'd need lots of squishy stuff and feely sensory bits.
Yes.
So once we know that in advance, and we have girls that are SNA trained, so they're special needs assistants.
So this is what I was going to ask. You
Yeah.
have to be trained.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Just because you have to have that experience.
Yes.
Because you might have worked with one child with additional needs before, and the next child is total polar opposite.
Yes.
You know, so you do need to just have that training behind you.
Yeah.
So the girls, we have about 9 girls with SNA training on behind them. So
Amazing.
we can send them everywhere and they love it, you know, because
Yeah.
you get to meet, again, so many different children that
I
you
see.
don't see in your normal classroom.
Yeah.
So it's lovely.
Like that's so rewarding to
Yeah.
hear that.
Oh, yeah.
Because I did do a wedding probably about 6 years ago,
Yeah.
and we had an individual there with extra needs,
Yeah.
and she was a sister of the bride, and they got somebody in to look after her
Yes.
because mum and dad do it 24/7, and she had
Absolutely.
I suppose exceptional
Yes.
extra needs, and
Yeah.
she would have needed a lot of medication and stuff, and they actually had somebody there,
Yeah.
and I thought, isn't this wonderful that she was part of the family photos?
Absolutely.
But she also needs her quiet time.
Yes. But she is, like, you hit it there at the head. She is part of the family.
She is a sister.
Do you know, like,
Yeah.
and you can't exclude them, or you
No.
can't say, okay, well, she's going to go with her normal childminder, but the normal childminder can't come to the wedding
Yes.
because for whatever reasons. Do you know, that happens quite often. So we'll say, oh, that's fine. We can be there. Do you know, and when it is a child with additional needs, let's say the likes of autism or neurotypical, we will try and arrange a meet up with them beforehand, just because they do need the familiarity of that person. So we
Yes.
might do 3 or 4 meetups with them before the day. So
Brilliant.
they know, we don't bring our toys at that point.
Yeah.
They can play with their own toys.
Oh no, that's later. That's later.
So, but that's it. We build them up and say, oh, we're going to be there for the party and
Yeah.
we're going to play with you and we're your safe person.
Yes.
So they do start building that connection with us then as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a wedding day is so hard for a child with additional needs
Yeah.
because it's totally different.
Oh my God.
Do you know, it's like,
and the noise.
Yeah.
And the smells.
yeah, everything.
And if you have a child with autism, I
Yes.
suppose, and they do have a lot of sensory issues, a lot of those smells,
oh yeah.
noise,
Even how people are dressed.
absolutely.
Because they don't see their mammy in a wedding dress.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Do you know? And they're like, where is my mammy?
Yes.
Like in the hoodie and the tracksuit that they're used to. Because
Yeah.
that's typically what we wear on
And
a
if
day to day.
Yeah, and if you've got a child with autism and they're used to wearing particular
Yes.
clothing, and because they're very fussy about the feel of
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's impossible to get a suit on them.
No, there's no point in even trying though.
Yeah.
Do you know, just let them wear what they want.
Yes.
And you're just going to have a much smoother day. Don't be worrying what other people are thinking.
Yeah.
He's your child or she's your child.
Yeah.
She's part of your family.
Absolutely.
No one else's. So
Yeah.
why? I know we all do. We're like, oh, what will they say or what will they think?
Yeah.
But don't be thinking about that. Just let them
Yeah.
be them.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like I had a child with severe autism.
Yeah.
Now, non-verbal, but just he'd be quite far down the line
Yeah.
now. And he was brought to a wedding. because he was their child,
Absolutely, yeah.
And they got married. I was so delighted that they did it this way.
Yeah.
They got married, and when they came down the aisle, they got married at the venue, and they came down the aisle and came outside, and somebody was actually taking care of him that day, because there's not a chance would he have been able to stay at the venue.
No.
He needed his own room and his own toys and his own bits and pieces.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he was there, and he loved balloons, and they had big balloons for him. And I got lovely photographs. Now, I hid in the bushes. I was like a paparazzi photographer, and I made sure everybody stayed away. And he was, I could see him looking at his mammy in her wedding dress. What are you doing,
Yeah. Where are you in between all of that?
But the emotion I got was just unbelievable. And she got down and she was hugging him. I was bawling in the
I'd say
section.
so, yeah. I should be as well. I'm like, oh, this is
know,
too
it was
cute.
just lovely.
Yeah.
And we just had that kind of 15 minutes, and that's all we got.
Brilliant.
And then they took him back off.
Yeah.
And there was no point in even trying to put him into the family photos, because it just wouldn't work. But what I really loved is that they got his needs.
Yes.
And they knew that that's all he would be able for.
Absolutely.
And he went back home.
They
then.
understand their child, obviously, very well.
Yeah.
Whereas there's some people that might say, oh, no, he'd be well able, we'll sail through it all. And you're like, hey, we have to bring you down a few notches here and talk about what we've seen at other weddings.
Exactly.
A lot of people think, oh, no, my child will be different. They're so well behaved.
Yes.
But they do still have that additional need.
Yeah.
Do so we'll say, okay, that's fine. We might get it that far, but we'll just talk about plan A, B, C, and D.
Have you ever had any children who, have epilepsy, or any children that take seizures or anything? Have you ever had anything to that extreme?
Yeah, no, we have nannies like that they're all first aid trained, but a lot of them are like a bit further on than that, just your general first aid. So we actually had a wedding there just recently. Yeah. The child had 2 seizures in the space of 6 hours.
Right.
But he was fine. He has seizures every day.
Yeah.
So the nanny was well able to manage this. We obviously had the emergency plan in place. So we knew what was going on. We had all of his gear right with us at all times.
Yes.
Once he had the seizure, the nanny could do exactly what was needed, and then she just let the mammy know then after. Look,
I was going to say, she didn't tell the bride that he's seizure during, just had a seizure there. Sorry about that now. So enjoy your photos.
Yeah. So when we were clocking off, we were obviously given our normal handover, and we said, look, by the way, he did have 2 seizures. One was at this time and the other was at this time. He had his medication and he came right around. There was no need for ambulance. There was no need to even let anyone know.
No.
But sometimes a parent will say to us, look, you might not tell us, but maybe you can tell X.
Yes.
So someone knows.
Yes.
But we'll always say, look, we'll always tell you when we're leaving anyway.
Absolutely.
Because you need to know. For the next day anyway.
Well, you do need to know.
Do you know?
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
we wouldn't in the middle of like, oh, he's having a seizure. We're well trained at all of that. This wasn't like nothing even out of the ordinary for this nanny. She was like, oh yeah, no, he's fine.
Amazing. I mean, this is just so lovely. I just know that when people listen to this podcast, they're going, oh my God, give me her number. So then what, I suppose, I mean, I know you're saying that you're not that type of company who'll come and mind 55 kids.
Yeah.
What's the maximum amount of children that you can take on a wedding day?
So I suppose, like I said earlier, we have kind of ratios that we follow. 1 nanny up to 3 children over the age of 2.
Yes.
But we have a team of 18 nannies.
Right.
So it depends on our availability. We could offer it for 10, 12, 13 children, and we'll just have a few girls there.
Yeah.
And then it would be 1 nanny to 1 child under the age of 2.
Yes.
Just because they do have kind of a bit more needs and naps and everything else that they need to follow. So kind of just depends. Fire away with 15 kids and we'll try our best to help you out. But we will have allocated, let's say, these 3 children to Ash and these 3 children to Becky. And, so we all have our 3.
Yeah.
So we know who, because we need to know their needs, any
Absolutely.
Allergies, but even just their normal routines.
Yeah.
So
you're the type of company, because, there's so many different types of company. Yes. You're the type of company, Ash, that will go in, and it's generally probably a mum and dad who have children.
Yes.
And you'll go in and you will absolutely be the mum and the dad for the day.
That's it.
Or the 24 hours.
Yeah. We kind of just tell the bride and groom, you're bride and groom now.
Yes.
Your mommy and daddy can clock back on at 10 o'clock when we leave the following morning. But until then, we're mommy and daddy.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Oh my God.
Let's say I was on the phone to a girl yesterday thinking about booking us, and she's like, but my baby's a co-sleeper. Is that okay? And I was like, yeah, of course. We're going to be you for the day.
Yes.
So whatever he needs, if he needs to cuddle up in the bed beside us, if he needs to have contact naps, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Do you know, they still need their normal as well.
Yeah.
Do you know?
And you have mum and dad who want to have a great day and have a party and know that the children are safe.
Yeah, definitely.
Isn't it just amazing though that they have that feeling, knowing that the kids are off and they're being minded and they're safe.
Yeah.
And they're happy.
Yeah. It makes us feel great when we like when they say to us after, oh, we had a great time, and we're like, oh, brilliant.
You've no idea how much they appreciate that, do you?
No, not a clue.
Yeah.
I mean, we get lovely reviews in afterwards, but still, like, just to see the
how
smile
it makes them feel.
And they can relax and they can have a few drinks, because a lot of parents won't drink when their children are around.
No.
So I love to see when they have a Prosecco or a Guinness or something in their hand.
Yeah,
oh, brilliant. You must be able to relax a little bit, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And by the end of the night, they're like, oh God, we probably drank a bit too much.
You can never do that.
No, exactly. Never. But that's kind of a lovely indication for us when we know they're smiling, they're off dancing, whatever. And the children are equally as happy. The children have nearly forgotten, like, Mammy who?
I don't want Mammy. You're great fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And tell me, so have you like a load of wax? I mean, this is for me now. This is mad season.
Oh, crazy.
You're probably up to your eyes, are you?
Yeah. So we kind of start getting busy again in April.
Yeah.
And it's just not stopping till October.
Yeah.
Probably the same with
you. Do you get any summer holidays?
No. Well, actually, now I am kind of lying. I was away for the weekend there. But that's it now until Christmas time.
Yeah. And will you take a break then? Because you need it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I do we schedule the wedding, so we're not front loading everything, because we can do that because we have a team of 18 girls.
Yes.
So we're not all doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Do you know, we might do Monday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Yes.
Do you know, so we do have the nice breaks, because you need it, especially working with children.
Absolutely.
Do you know, because you'd be tired.
And would you like be totally booked out, or how much notice do a couple need to give you if they want to book you for the wedding day?
So at the minute, we're kind of asking for a year.
A year.
Because people are emailing me, have you got the 24th of June? You're like,
no. Are you having a laugh?
You must be mad. But I do feel terrible. So I say, I don't really, but let me see if there's anything we can do. So we'll always, if you do have a last minute inquiry like that, a lot of people, we're still only a small business at the end of the day.
I know.
A lot of people are like, oh, I've only heard about you, but my wedding's in 2 months. And you're like, oh, please don't tell me that. But I'm gonna try and see what we can do.
Yeah,
do you know? Because I'd hate to like that. You hate to think of children being like lost souls on the day of the wedding.
Absolutely.
Do you know? But generally, kind of at the minute, like, next year is quite busy.
Yeah. So 2024 is booking up.
Yeah. Very fast.
Yeah. Oh, I
Sorry,
know.
With yourself, I'd say. But it's,
yeah.
for me, only doing this like such a short amount of time. It's like, what?
Well, you're only doing the Wedding Nanny a short amount of time, but you've been working in creches for how long?
That's it, yeah. I mean, God, 9 years.
So like they have routines and they have to do different things at different times. So you're so experienced with children.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you would not take on a nanny unless they have the same experience.
Yeah, they'd have to. And they're all trained by me as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I have my way of doing things.
You're a control freak.
Yeah, I am. See, if anyone's trying to get on that laptop to do emails, it's just not happening.
I know, but I know I'm only joking when I say you're control, but you have to be really fussy about who you take on.
Because they're children, and they're so, like, you know yourself, you've children. Like, you're not going to trust just anyone.
No, you're not.
So I look at any of my bride's children like my own.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, my nannies have to have the exact same approach.
Absolutely.
Because it's so important.
Especially if you're going to leave your children with this person overnight.
Oh, well, that's it, yeah. You need to know.
In the bed.
Yeah, exactly. You need to know that, but that we are all guard about it.
Of course.
But you need to know that they're just normal people.
Absolutely.
If they're going to be weirdos, God, you know, like, you just can't do that, you know. So they're all trained by me. We have a lengthy training process.
Yeah.
Because
I know that this is what my listeners want to hear. They want to know that you're experienced, that you're guarded, and that you have all of the training under your belt, and then they'll be fine, you know?
Because we even get a lot of emails coming in like, oh, I've read your reviews, Ash, can I book you? And I'm like, it doesn't really work like that.
Yeah.
Because some of the girls are even better than me.
Yes.
You know, and you're like, oh, I have the perfect girl for you and your children.
Yes.
Because we do work really hard at that. So you say to me, right, I have a 5 and a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
And I have a lovely primary school teacher there that literally has all she needs to do that. And I'd be like, I'm not probably the best person for that, but I have someone that's even more qualified than me. She is a primary school teacher.
Amazing.
Do you know, so it's like sometimes like, but I wanted you. And you're like, but you're actually going to be even more thrilled with who you have.
Absolutely.
Because we want to make sure it's that personal. They're there for your family.
Exactly.
Do you know?
And you're not just going to send out anybody who just hasn't a clue.
No,
do you know?
Definitely not.
Asha, I could talk to you till next week.
I know.
But honestly, like, that has just been so, so helpful. Have you any other tips for couples who
just enjoy the wedding and know obviously if you've us booked or if you've a childminder in general booked, the children are going to be fine.
Yes.
Children are so adaptable.
Yeah.
Like they really are.
They are.
Once there's a few toys, let them kind of do what they want within reason, make sure they're safe. They're going to be great. So you just enjoy the day.
And you don't recommend a family member looking after the kids on the day?
Please, no. Just one thing, have your children looked after. Let everyone be a guest.
Let everybody be a guest.
You've invited them for a reason. Don't say, oh, come here, I've invited you to the wedding, but will you look
will
after?
Mind them? Will you take them overnight?
So just let them be a guest. Bring somebody in outside of the family.
Because I often see nanas and granddads looking, and that's not fair.
No.
They want to be at the wedding.
Yeah, but they're celebrating their daughter or their son getting married.
Yeah.
It's a huge day for
them. It's massive.
So you can't say.
And even later on then, when all the stuff is done, all the important stuff, the photos and stuff, they're going to want to, chat to their own families,
and mingle around the guests as well and not be putting on your flats to go running around the ballroom.
But that I suppose does suit some people and that's fine. But,
absolutely.
But in general, you wouldn't agree with that.
No. Well, I mean, I think it's just better. I suppose the service is there for a reason. So
absolutely.
Just use it, I suppose.
So Ash, everyone's going to want to know, how do we get in touch with her? How do they get in touch with you?
So we're on Instagram. We're at Wedding Nannies on Instagram, wedding_nannies. And then you can find us on Google. If you just type in thewedingnanny.net, we'll come up there and we'll get in touch with you, I suppose.
Amazing. Listen, thank you so much for your time.
I
was so excited about this podcast.
Oh, me too. I was equally just as excited.
Thank you so much, Ash.
Oh, thanks so much, Jenny.